What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Gamer Dad channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. Today, we're going to be talking about the Division 2's bank headquarters mission, and we're going to be looking at it from the perspective of level design. In the last few years, I took a very huge hiatus away from making content in order for me to focus a little bit more on my game development. I would say inquisition or inquiry. That's basically what it is. I wanted to know what it took to actually make these video games, and so I started dabbling in Unreal Engine 4 and then Unreal Engine 5. And what happened after that was it gave me a different level of appreciation for a lot of the games that I play, and most importantly, the game that I've played the most, where I've sunk in the most amount of hours, is The Division. And looking at The Division's world design and level design, it is hard for you to conclude that anything in terms of the level and world design is subpar. In fact, everything here that's been done in The Division, in the world and the storytelling, both games, The Division 1 and The Division 2, are basically world class. And I mean that literally and figuratively. Now, Bank HQ is basically one of the missions here in Washington, D.C. And from, everything that we know, the Division's Washington, D.C. map was built on a 1-to-1 scale representation of the area of D.C. that they captured. People can attest to this who live in the D.C. area. They'll tell you that a lot of the buildings, the roads, and even some of the different landmarks are very similar. If you want, we could probably maybe do a survey of some of the landmarks and you see for yourself. So what I wanted to do is analyze this Bank HQ level, and I'll take my time in doing it. We'll walk through the different areas and the different, settings, and you'll see how the level basically creates a narrative component in its own sense. Now, this is something you probably know, and some of you are probably like, I'm just here for the ride. So I really appreciate you guys. So the moment you walk in, there's the counter, and then there's basically, a world map that you can see on the front. Perhaps this is probably telling you that this used to be a high-ranking, financial institution and also banking institution. So you can already see it. Now, many of you know what I mean. If you walk into your local bank, not every branch is going to have this huge world map and a big desk in front of it. Also, you're probably not going to have, in terms of the way it's set up, these security systems that you have here. Now, some banks require you to do that. I've lived in 2 countries, and some bank branches will make you move your cell phone and your metal devices through it. So, you could tell that if this is a bank in the US, it's probably maybe a big branch, one that, has a lot of, services that it provides to its customers being carried out there. And then when you move your way here, you see these elevators that are basically locked down, and you see rubble and debris. This is indicative of the post-pandemic world that you see in the Division 1 and 2. And all of the graffiti on the wall basically continues to say something. You start seeing a lot of different profanities, and, you also see some interesting, aspects to it. But in all of this, the developers still take the time to tell you where to go or clue you into where to go. Now, again, the Division 2 is not a largely pedantic game in a sense. You can turn off your HUD and you can turn off all of this stuff, and you can play the game without that. But again, just the rules of game development and gameplay, you kind of want to tell your gamer, hey, this might be where you want to look to, or at least go to. Now, if you notice, it's subtle in the sense that it says elevators are this way. However, that particular picture is just pointing with a big, longer arrow than the text and font itself saying, hey, go this way, bro, if you understand what I mean. So from a psychological perspective, if you look at that arrow, it will catch your attention more than anything else. And then you get to this lobby area. I am so amazed how they took this lobby area. Let me melt all these guys first real quick. I am so amazed how they took the lobby area. Oh, I got to take care of the ones coming down the stairs too. Well, here you go. As to how they use this lobby area and basically made it an encounter or combat arena in a sense. The NPCs, what are you doing? What is this? The NPCs basically are just lurking and loitering here. However, the world, again, is telling you that this is basically kind of like the diminishing of civilization as we know it. It also, provides you with gameplay mechanics at the same time. So everything in this particular scene and setup is saying to the player, man, you're in here and you can marvel at the way, all of this cool stuff has diminished and depreciated. And at the same time, you can play the game. Now, something really interesting, is actually a part of this and that is the fact that a huge van of some sort has crashed into this, part of the bank. So again, this is a storytelling beat, like, giving the player a cue to say what in the world went on here. And ideally, your answer will be, oh, maybe the bad guys were trying to break into the bank and do some, and cause some shenanigans. Or maybe when everything went to tank, some people became menaces and they tried to carry out some version of the purge going on here. So you can already see it. Again, another, map of the world that you can see here. This is basically telling you that this is like a big shot bank. Like, you're going to be in here and you're going to have like a safety deposit box to be able to keep your valuables if you're that kind of a customer. And so that's basically the lobby and some of its storytelling elements. And I think this is something that The Division has done so well because its narrative, for some reason, basically drives and tells this entire story. And I don't think, at any rate, you can actually deny or at least divorce the merging of this particular, of these two themes together in art and, in level design, world building, and in the narrative and the storytelling. Because that's basically what the game is doing. And at the same time, you can also, let's throw a shout out to the lighting artists. Now, one thing about lighting in a lot of these video games is they're designed to, say things to you. When you walk into this bank, and this was a big issue with The Division at first when it came out, when the launch was, the lighting was very, very weird because the PlayStation 4 versions and Xbox One versions, we didn't have the new generation of consoles, by the way. I'm playing on my PS5. At that point, the lighting was so bad. I thought, and, to my suspicions were probably, maybe close, was the consoles were just not strong enough to do it because we didn't have that lighting once we got to PC. The PC version was able to, in a sense, work without those issues because largely they built the game based on old PC hardware that was already better than the PS4 and the Xbox One. And when you got into these areas, the lighting was so dark. A lot of people were complaining that the lighting was very dark. But I think the lighting at the time was trying to say, we have broken infrastructure here, right? And at the same time say, well, why don't you go there? Because that place there is properly lit. So you as a player, you just naturally are drawn to that area because you start to see light, indicators that are saying, come over this way. And then shout out to the VFX person who did this, this busted light line. You see it? This says now, oh, this is what's been going on here. Someone's been vandalizing this stuff. And so now we're going to spawn a VFX over here, a little particle effect that basically continues to shoot some of these emit these little flashes that say, oh, this is actually a broken light piece, and that disappears, doesn't even touch the ground. But it's just a thing that's going to continue doing that in a loop or a cycle. So just a few really cool things here that and that's my oven telling me to go get my food out. Let me hear your thoughts in the comment section, guys. We'll talk again in a continuation of this video. I appreciate you guys' time and audience, and hopefully we can chat in another one. Thanks so much for watching. Peace out.